Hello everybody, I'm George from Beau Monde Guitars, and today I have special guest Andy James with me.
Hi, how's it going?
Super excited. I have a few questions here for you today.
Right.
I wanted to ask you, of all your influences, which have had the biggest effect on you as a guitar player?
I think it's kind of in stages, because, you know, obviously when I got into guitar and stuff, my initial influence was Slash from Guns N' Roses. So that was kind of all I really listened to and played. It was all I listened to up to the point of starting guitar, and then obviously when I started getting into it, I went back over that kind of stuff and learnt all of that. So I feel like it was a good grounding for like learning sort of basic pentatonic sort of solos. And I mean, you know, not calling Slash basic, but you know, some of that stuff is kind of simple compared to where I kind of started to discover other guitar players and other techniques moving forward and that kind of stuff. Then I think the next one was kind of Joe Satriani. Bit of a funny story with that, like someone gave me a vinyl of Surfing with the Alien, and I had a record player, and I put the record on and I listened to it and I was like, it doesn't even sound like a guitar, like how am I going to be able to play this? It just seems so ridiculously fast, right? And then I realised I had it on like double speed, because you could change the speed of the record. So, you know, someone said, oh yeah, it's on the wrong speed, put it back, and I was like, right, I think I might have a go at that now. And then I suppose it was like when I got into college at about sort of 16 or whatever, I discovered guys like Paul Gilbert, John Petrucci, Zakk Wylde, you know, Yngwie Malmsteen, all of that kind of stuff. So that was then pretty much what I sort of like listened to and practiced to try and get my technique up.
Wow, that's awesome. Congratulations on the release of Exodus.
Oh, cheers.
What was your inspiration behind the record? What was the writing process like?
It's kind of probably not the answer that I should give, maybe. Mainly because it wasn't meant to be an album. It was actually a sort of mistake of having like these songs together, because I was working for a Australian company called STL Tones, and they've been doing a lot of you know, producer packs with Kemper tones and stuff like that, and they've been doing some player stuff as well. And I got one of their packs called the Sky Dreams, and I did a clean video, and it ended up with something like sort of 1 million plus views on Facebook in a very short space of time. So they contacted me and said, oh, you know, because I bought the thing, they didn't give it to me, it was only from a recommendation from a friend that they thought I would like the tones kind of thing. So I sat down, I did this song, it was only about 1.5 minutes, and then it kind of did well where they shared it, and then they got in touch with me and said, oh, you know, would you like to do some Kemper tones of your own kind of thing? So I was like, yeah, you know, of course, it'd be great to sort of hire a studio for a day, get a bunch of amps, mic them up, you know, record all the tones and stuff. And then what they do is they kind of match them their end. So yeah, during that process, we were thinking about how we were going to market the different sounds in the pack. So it'd be like, you know, 30 tones in a pack or whatever, how we're going to go through the different tones so people can hear them. So obviously you're not just going to buy something just because someone's name's on it, I guess, or whatever. So I was just writing a bunch of songs to facilitate the different tones in the pack. So I just started writing these songs. Like, I kept sending them to them, and they were like, oh, great, do you think you could do a song for this one? And it was like, yeah, okay. You know, a couple of days later, I'd send a song. And these were kind of demos at this point, just to give them an idea of the kind of thing I was working on. And then they were kind of saying, well, you know, these are pretty good, you know, like, have you got any more? And I kept doing it. And then I had a couple of songs that I'd written from a while ago. And then all of a sudden, I just had this album sitting there, like of about 10 songs. And I thought, well, I haven't done another solo album for quite a long time. Maybe I should think about putting one out. But then I kind of forgot about that idea for a while until I met a guy called George Valley, who's like my manager now. He's looked after like Tosin and guys like that. Oh. And he was kind of saying, oh, you know, I reckon I could kind of hook you up with a few people and stuff like that. He said, the next thing I think you should do would probably be do another solo album. And I was kind of like, well, it just so happens I've got one sitting there, ready to go kind of thing. I mean, I had to go back into the sessions and mix them all. So because there were so many different rhythm tones, lead tones, I wanted to make it sound like a cohesive album throughout, rather than just having pockets of demos on a thing. I wanted to try and make it sound like it all belonged together. But that's pretty much how it came about, really.
Oh, that's awesome how it came about.
Yeah.
Can you tell us a little bit about the gear you used to record the record?
Well, pretty much Kemper for all the guitar tones, seeing as that was what we were promoting. And then I just used Cubase. I've been using that since 16. When I got to college and we started learning about recording techniques and stuff like that, that was the door of choice. So I think I've pretty much just stuck with that. I mean, I've tried other ones like Pro Tools and Logic and stuff, but for my kind of workflow and the way I work and I just know the interface of like how Cubase works and that so well that I just stick with using that. And that's pretty much it really, you know, a few plugins here and there. I did everything myself, so I did all the drums and bass myself, just programmed. So keep the cost down and stuff.
That's awesome, being your vision and your exact vision.
Yeah, I mean, it took a while because, I mean, I haven't really been studying mixing, until about kind of a year and a half ago. I got heavily into it and started to just sort of study it and stuff. And normally when I kind of like guitar when I first started because I was so obsessed with kind of learning everything that I could possibly learn about it and how my brain works. If I kind of want to do something, I will just immerse myself in it until I've, you know, got what I need out of it to kind of facilitate what it is I want to do. So with the mixing side of things, it was very much like, you know, studying different drum programs or different plugins and how people mix and master stuff and all that kind of thing, just to try and get it so it sounds like a competitively sounded record compared to everything else. I mean, I listen to it now and I kind of think, yeah, it's pretty good, but like a year's nearly passed since I finished all of those demos and stuff, so probably could get it a little better. But you know, they always say that a good mix is like it's never finished, it's just abandoned after a certain period of time, so you just kind of you live with it, you draw a line under it and then move on, kind of thing.
Oh, definitely, because you could always go back and keep tweaking things forever.
Yeah, exactly, which I, you know, have a tendency to do, like, but you have to just kind of say, yeah, you know, sod it and put it out.
I've been watching a lot of your videos and live performances for a while, and I've noticed that you switched from the DV to the Kemper. Was there any particular reason? Do you hear something in one that you don't in the other?
I think live, the DV Mark works incredibly well. I like the way the Kemper sounds like recorded, you know, because it's has a bit more realistic sounding amps and stuff like that. I mean, not taking anything away from the DV, but there is certain things within that I can kind of hear that isn't what the Kemper gives you, kind of thing. So that's from that point of view. And live, I've started using the Kemper as well because, you know, taking a direct feed from the Kemper to front of house. I use it with a power amp as well, so I don't do the whole in-ears thing and all that. I'd still like to feel and hear the volume on stage and feel it. So I use like a Fryette 50-watt power amp with my Kemper because it's valve, not digital. And that's the other thing. The DV Mark is a solid state power amp. It's like a Class D 600 watt thing. But I mean, I've just done the Petrucci camp actually, and it was funny because I was going to bring my Kemper, but the case was broken, so I couldn't bring it. I need to get a new flight case for it. But the DV Mark was already there, had its own little soft case and that, and I kind of fired it up quickly at home, and I thought, wow, this actually sounds better than I remember. And it was like all encompassing, you know, it's got all the effects in it, it's powered. All you've got to do is just plug it into a cab. But I kind of stupidly didn't realise, I didn't think about it, that the voltage is different. So when you come to the US, it's half the voltage of what I use in the UK. So we had to get a transformer for it to work to jack up the voltage. But no, even Petrucci was saying, wow, like that's just that thing in the cab. And he was like, it sounds incredible. So I got a lot of good tone compliments over that week, just from having this thing that no one had seemingly heard of. So that was cool.
Oh, that's awesome. Oh, what amp is your Kemper profile modeled after?
Well, the main profiles I use are the ones that we did in the STL pack, but I mean, that's not just because I kind of put my name in it and I've got to use them. I mean, we spent a long time trying to get the perfect kind of tone, and the amp that we used was my bass player in Wearing Scars has a 6505, but it's had like a bias mod to it. So they're running it a bit hotter because apparently a lot of these amps, they get put on the market and you buy them, but they're pretty cold, and I think it's to prolong the life of the tubes. So there's this kind of modification that you can do where it makes it work a little bit harder, and it seemingly gives you a kind of smoother tone and more low end and stuff. So, you know, we did a shootout with a bunch of other amps, and that was the best amp that we were getting the sound out of. So we predominantly kind of focused on that, and there are other amps in the pack as well, but that's pretty much what I use for studio and live. It's just this modded 6505. I think it was Messer oversized cab, 57 and a 421 on the actual drivers, and then we had a boundary mic underneath the cab just to get a bit more sub low end.
Oh wow!
Because I think like with recording guitars and like that, you can have as much low end as you want, but you can't kind of put low end that isn't there. So you can high pass all your low end out, but I don't know. Like I've had guitar tones where you try and beef them up, but if the actual frequency range isn't in the signal to start with, it's kind of hard to add artificial low end to something. So yeah, we kind of made it pretty raw like that, so people could process it how they want.
So it's a little easier to take away than it is to add, right?
Yeah, basically, yeah. I mean, most of the kind of mixing stuff I do is mainly subtractive EQ anyway. Like, I rarely boost stuff unless it's really kind of like murky or whatever, but yeah.
I want to talk about your signature model.
Okay.
I noticed from the one that I purchased, yours now comes with an Evertune.
It will do next year. The first time I tried an Evertune, it was at NAMM, and I kind of didn't like it. I was like, this just feels weird, like everything. But then I since realised that it was because it was just off the shelf. There's a certain way you have to wind the tuners to make it feel like it plays like a normal guitar. So I kind of had this idea that I wanted to, do a lot more recording, but the pain in the arse about doing loads of recording is you've got to make sure your instruments are banging tune. So I kind of wanted to just get a guitar for the studio initially, and I got one of the EC1000s, which was a production model that ESP already do, so I didn't have to retrofit any of my guitars or anything like that. I just got this guitar that already had it in, and I slapped a couple of these pickups in, so it wasn't an AJ guitar initially, and then yeah, I don't know, I just kind of learnt how to use it, and I just got so used to using it that when I went back to these Tune-o-matic bridges, it just seemed like I was going back to tuning the guitar again and trying to get it all sorted out for recording. But then I discovered that live it works as well, because like you're not checking your tuning just before you go on stage, and like the lights suddenly make your guitar hot when it was cold like 10 minutes ago, and then it's all out of tune again, sort of thing. So yeah, I got ESP to do me a couple of just custom signature models that had the Evertune already put in the factory. The interesting thing about that though is if you kind of look at the guitar, the neck goes back slightly, so it actually, if you look at these pickup things here, they're sort of sloped.
Angled.
Yeah, whereas on mine it's completely flat, because it has to be to facilitate the Evertune, so they had to change the design a little bit of the body to get it to fit, so it's completely flat.
Do you notice your hand sits differently? Like is it like
a little bit, yeah, because obviously this is sort of raised. It's a bit more like a Les Paul bridge, and with the Evertune bridge, it's more like having a Floyd Rose, if you like. So it's a bit flatter across the top of the guitar. But it didn't take long to get used to. It wasn't a huge difference for me, and that's it. So next year we're going to have. Well, we're working towards doing this one, which I've got the black prototype with me, which has got the black brushed 5766 and the black Evertune, and then we're going to have a white 7-string as well.
Oh, it's going to be so awesome. I can't wait. Okay, so we're going to be expecting the white 7-string, and those products are going to be new coming up?
Yeah, it'd be NAMM will be the launch, so January will be the kind of time when it's done. Yeah.
Awesome. I'm super excited for that.
Yeah,
add that to the collection.
Yeah.
What can we expect from your European tour with Angel Vivaldi?
Just 2 guitar players going on tour, having a laugh and playing some shred for people. It's like a co-headline, so I guess we'll kind of just be taking it in turns to go and go on last or whatever. We're actually, while I'm in Jersey, I'm going to be filming some video parts for a song that we've got, that we worked on together. There's going to be like a kind of tour single, if you like, just to kind of promote the tour a little bit, and something that we can put on YouTube that just is more interesting than us sitting there going, hey, we're going to be on tour, come and check it out. Because I don't know, I just feel like something like a new piece of music always seems to get people excited. And then hopefully, if all goes well, we might play it on the tour together. So it's something we can do both on stage together at the same time. So
that's going to be awesome.
Yeah, definitely looking forward to it. So that's kicking off at the end of September, October, and then there is talk of bringing that to America as well, but we have to finalise the details for that. But that'll be later on this year.
That'd be great. I'd love to attend that.
Yeah.
We're so happy to have you. It's been a pleasure. I can't wait to see you play. Thank you again for coming.
Thanks very much. Cheers.
Everybody, like this post, leave comments at the bottom, and thank you for watching.
Cheers.